And listen, I'm afraid when people are mad at me too. But at some point I go, I'm sorry, you're not going to live my life. I have to. If you don't keep boundaries, who's going to trust you? You don't have any boundaries. I get real nervous around people with boundaries. They're loosey goosey, make me nervous. You don't have to be angry and belligerent, but you can kind of speak up and decide what you want. And if you don't feel like having sex, but you don't want to break up with your partner, then you say, you know what? I'm not feeling it.
And
The rules we were raised with, I hate to tell you, it is a lie. And it's not something you have to live by anymore. And you don't get points for clinging to things you did right before. No one's giving out trophies for who was the good girl.
Hi, everyone. My name is Haley.
And this is Laura.
And welcome to The Body Pod.
all right, today we are so excited to welcome Terri Trespicio. I got it right. I'm really happy. To the Body Pod today. And this is going to be quite a different podcast than I think that we normally have with our guests. Terri, we are so looking forward to diving in here. And I kind of want to start with the good stuff right away. I want to go right into your TED Talks.
Okay. Yes.
So let's kind of just cover the Unfollow Your Passion. And kind of start with that first one, but I love the second topic, which we'll get to as well.
Yeah.
From the second TED Talk. But could you just give us a rundown of that TED Talk and what
Yes.
inspired you to do it?
Well, so that TEDx talk is now looking to me a little long in the tooth. I mean, it's now 10 years old. You know what I mean? So I'm like, it's not exactly top of mind for me, but that talk changed my life. It could be easy for someone to see that talk and go, oh, this woman talks about this. So then she went and did a TED Talk about that. But that's not how I got that TED Talk. I got that TED Talk, and by TED, I mean TEDx, but you know what I mean? I got it how I've gotten some of my best opportunities. Someone dropped out. And very close to like 6 weeks ahead of the event, I think I manifested that because I was like, I so want to have a TED Talk. And then I read a book that I won't name that I thought was lousy that talked me basically out of it. It was like, oh, is this too hard? I'm not smart enough. Do I have to work at NASA? Like it made me feel like this is not something for a regular person to do. Wrong. But again, this was years ago. And then someone on Facebook, who not even a friend, when I tell you the loosest connection, said, oh, you seem to do a lot of speaking. Like we had someone just drop out. Our company sponsors this TEDx here. And, someone dropped out. So would you be willing to meet the producer? We're trying to gather up people who could pop in for this person. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I got on a call with the producer that day. That is not how that works.
No way.
Now it's a cottage industry. Like you hire a coach, you do this. I mean, I have been hired by people to help them with their talks. I mean, it's a whole industry. You apply, I didn't do it for this. They were in a scramble. And I got on the call with the guy and he said, so do you have a TED Talk in you? I did not have a talk ready. I was like, maybe someday I'll do that. I have no idea. But I had been doing a lot of, at the time, my post magazine editor life. I was a media coach. And so I was helping people put into words what they do. That was what I did for many years. And so I had been in my mind trafficking in opinions and knowing that the contrary opinion usually gets people's attention. So he said, literally, what are some ideas you have? And I said, I think I have a few ideas. And I dug into what I call into my inner ire. I was like, what are the things that really piss me off? Because those make for great topics to talk about. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, Mike, one of the most brilliant people I've ever worked with. And I said, I'll tell you what, Mike, I get a little bit annoyed about a few things. One is at the time I said the idea of fate makes me crazy because I feel like we don't have any control of the. I said, the other thing I really don't like is when people say to follow your passion. I go, what mealy mouthed advice? It's not bad advice. It's just not helpful. And he goes, that's interesting. Where does that go? Like, tell me more about that. I go, I don't know. When I tell you, I was like knitting the idea on the spot.
Yeah.
And I was like, I said, I think it makes me mad because it's not helpful. It's not how you live your life, So I'm impromptu TED talking, which I like to do, but I hadn't done it yet. So then he goes, well, listen, why don't you go write up, like, what is the outline? What's it like? Basically come up with a talk. He goes, come up with some ideas for that. And tell me what that even looks like. And then let's meet back here. At the time it was Skype. Let's meet back here tomorrow. And I was like, okay. So I got off the call and I started writing that talk. I said, I'm acting like I just got an assignment I'm giving this TED Talk. So I wrote a bunch and I said, here's ideas. I came back the next day and I said, here's some ideas. Here's what I'm thinking. I mean, you work well under pressure, right? We all do. And so he said, this is interesting. I like this. I like this. Work on it again. When I tell you, I got on a call with him every day for like 4 or 5 days. And I was like, okay, so what are we talking about here? Should I get a plane ticket? Like, am I doing
Yeah.
this? Like,
Yeah.
are we seeing other people? Like, what is the deal? And he was like, no, you're in. And he was
No
hesitant
way.
at first because who am I? Like, nobody. And also, he looked at my background, and this is one of the few times when being a consultant who works for yourself can work against you because they're afraid you're going to come on and try to sell. Now, I know better. I was already a professional speaker. I'm not going to come on and sell at it. You can't do that. So I was like, no, I get it. Blah, 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 blah. That man helped me create that talk. It is not, you do not get the producer to help you create the talk anymore. But when I tell you I did draft and submitted a draft and he'd edit it and draft all the way up to the week of the event. This was not far away from the event. It was maybe 6 weeks, maybe.
I'm floored.
And
I am too.
I didn't have the ending to that talk because he's like, well, what's the answer? Like, what is the, and I was like, it's
You'll have to
coming
wait and
up. No, but I was like, let's figure it out. And I'm telling you, it was like days before the event. I said, I got it. I was like, I nailed it. This
No
is the idea.
way.
And that last line of that TED Talk is the line. And that's when I knew. I was like, I'm done. This is done. I know it. And I didn't know you could use a monitor. Like you can do slides, but I wasn't doing slides. He goes, you're better off just memorizing it. So not only had I just written it, now I have to memorize it. I memorized it word for word because I was like, and I don't give talks that way. I do not. But for this, it was like, you have to come in tight on your time. You have to know every word. So when you watch that talk, know that it has been rehearsed. I don't think I said another thing but that talk for the days leading up. And then I was so nervous and I walked out there and I was like, this moment could change my life or it maybe doesn't. And
Yeah.
it did. It completely changed my life as a speaker because, and listen, we can't control who watches our talks. There are so many talks and so many things. But back then it was still a little less crowded. And that talk on its own, people are like, how'd you get like so many millions of views? I was like, listen, good content will find a home in people's attention. And I can't be like, well, mine was the best. I don't know what it was, but it worked. It hit a note. It really did. And I left that theater and I was like, okay, that was fun. And then within like 2 months, I had like 1 million views, which back then was a lot. And from there, it was just like, holy cow. So then people would find the talk and I had all incoming. I never had to pitch a talk after that for a while. People would just find that talk and they would just hire me. So, but anyway, you didn't ask about that. Sorry. You didn't ask me
No,
about
I
my
love it.
career arc.
I love it. And I want to know, how old were you when that first TED Talk was
Well,
published?
I'm 52 now. So I was 42.
42.
Mhm.
Okay. So midlife.
Oh, absolutely.
Here,
That week.
completely changing your life.
Oh, I don't think anything worth talking about happens until after 40 or anything, let's say, worth
Amen.
really enjoying. Like after 40, I was like, oh, now I'm clicked in now. Like we're on the bike and we're going. Like that was it. But before that, it's not like I had a bad. I have a great life. I'm very lucky to have the life I had, but I was still sort of like, and then after 40, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I actually do whatever the hell I want now. And I was like, I forgot for a sec that I'm a free person and I can do whatever. So that around that time, I had been taking improv classes, which is where I met my best friends who I'm still friends with, just for fun, just get out of my house because I was working from home. I started playing in a touch football league, having never so much as touched a football in my life. So over 40, started playing in a touch football league, co-ed. I never played on a team. I was a dancer. I'm very afraid of being out there with men running around. And it was dangerous, but I got to play football. I was like, I don't know how to play football. They're like, listen, we need a girl on the team. You need to come. I was like, I can run, I can catch. Just tell me which way to run. So I played that. And that same week of that TED Talk was also my first stand-up set. I had just taken my first stand-up comedy show and my set was 2 days before that TED Talk. That week I was like, this is a lot. A 10-minute, like your tight 5 and your TED Talk 10. I was like, this is a lot. That week was amazing.
Yeah, life-changing week.
And I think that that's important to note here because while we only have midlife listeners, it is such a testament to your life isn't over kind of at midlife. We talk about all of
Uh-uh.
these hard things, hormones, menopause,
Onions.
you know, yeah, like all of this stuff. And then it some of your best life. For me, it has in the last few years, no question.
Oh my God.
Um,
Oh, and after 50, I would say even better. I think
oh,
Why don't
40s were still hard.
why don't you tell us about that? You had a major life change at 50, in your
I
50s.
did.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I've been single. Listen, I got to set the table here. I had no interest personally in getting married. It just wasn't a goal for me. I didn't necessarily want kids. I have two younger sisters. They have kids. I
Like, even
wasn't a
in your
pathway.
20s, you didn't wanna get married
No,
or okay.
no. I remember I was sitting at like a dinner with my whole family. Okay, my two younger sisters and my parents who are divorced, but we were whatever. We were in the room together. And I said, "Hey, I feel like I have to tell you guys something." And I think I might have been 30 something. And I said, "I am not gonna live the life you all led. I know I'm not. I am not gonna get married. I mean, you obviously see I don't have any interest in it. I don't want kids. So I'm just saying, like, that's what I'm doing." And my sisters were like, "Okay." And my dad was asleep. We're like, "Dad, wake up. Do you mind if I do whatever I want?" He goes, "Do whatever makes you happy." And went back to sleep. And then my mom said, "Honey, don't have kids for me." She was like,
Mm.
You have to live your life." She's like, "Don't do any of that stuff for me." And she said, "I think yours is the life I want next." And I thought that was such a tribute. I was very lucky to have a family that was so supportive. I still dated. I was still doing like I didn't move to New York City until I was 36 years old. I was like, I've been here, but I never lived here. I always wanted to live here. So I didn't move here as a kid and like party. I was like an adult going to bed at a reasonable time. And then I was like, well, I'm dating, but what am I dating for? Like, these guys are such assholes. Like, God, the douchery that happens here with dating. But I did. I found a few nice guys and I dated one, but every couple of years. And it wasn't, I was like, what am I even doing? And people are like, well, why are you dating? And I was like, I don't know, actually. And it was fun. And I was like, but I can do whatever I want. I can have sex with whoever I want. Blah, blah, blah. And I did have fun. I would like give people my phone number. I was like picking up young men. I was 40. I was like close to 40. I was like going out with like 29-year-olds and sometimes younger. I mean, like I was just having a great time. And
yeah.
then I had a boyfriend who I had the longest relationship with that I'd ever been with. Okay. 4 years. 4. That's it. That's how long. And let me tell you this, because I feel like I know we have a lot of midlife women. Some of them are not married, right? Some of them are wondering, was I supposed to do something?
Mhm.
And I knew by the time I was, 40 something, I was like, I kind of like living by myself. I really like having my own space. I enjoy company occasionally. And I started dating this New York City police officer who I met online. There's not a person I met who I didn't meet online, pretty much. Oh, one Apple Genius guy, but this different story. So this New York City police officer and I dated right before the pandemic and then through the pandemic. And he didn't live with me. He has kids, he's divorced, he was living, in Long Island. And he was a total sweetheart, like really, really great guy. Someone would be very happy to have him. And I was like, okay, cool, let's do this, for now, whatever. I didn't know. And at the end, like for the first year, I realized I had to have a talk with him. And this was a big talk. And I said to him, he would joke about like, well, we're going to move in together. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. I need to nip this in the bud. And I said, I'm not going to say his name, but I said, listen, officer, um, I know that probably you have in mind a life where you marry the right person for you because the first person you're with, you have these beautiful kids. That woman was not for you. You probably want to have that. You probably want to live with someone. I said, and that's not going to be me. You live in the suburbs and you work in the city and you probably want someone who's there, maybe making dinner or at least sitting on the couch with you every night. And that's not going to be me. And then, but I also was a little defensive because I was terrified always that someone's going to take my life away from me. And I said, I'm never going to live with you. And he's like, but that might change. I go, even if it does, that's not a promise I make now. So if we're going to date, you have to know that this is it. We see each other a few times a week. You go home. I have my own life. We're together. I wasn't dating anyone else, but I need you to understand this. I need you to hear me now, because if it comes up, if you wish I would and you resent it, and the resentment will build. I said, if you find yourself kind of and wanting to bring it up or joking about it, and if you were to ever joke about it in front of someone, we're done. Because I said, this can't be Terri, he's like, you have weird rules. I go, no, I don't have weird rules. I have a life.
You have
And this is the life
boundaries.
I want. Yeah. I also, turns out, was fucking gay as, and I'll say that again. In case you want to edit it out, I'll say it a different way. I was gay. Did not realize it totally, but finally, after the pandemic, and realized I was just treading water in this thing. I didn't care if I had sex ever again. And I said to myself, this guy is so nice. He's a wonderful to hold. He smells good. He's good to me. He's a wonderful boyfriend. And if he said to me, hey, guess what? I have a medical condition. I can never have sex again. I'd be like, okay, what do you want for dinner? And I realized I didn't care, but obviously he cared.
Yeah.
And so
for
I was
sure.
doing the just roll over and get done, and then you've bought 48 hours.
Yes.
And I know a lot of women who are straight, by the way, who don't
Do
feel like
that.
having sex with their husband. But I felt that now, when I'm in a relationship for only 4 years, it feels lifelong, because it's been
Yeah.
so long for me. And also, what are we doing right now? So that was not great, because I was like, and I kept saying, you should date a lovely woman who lives near you. He's like, why are you always telling me to date other people? I was like, I'm telling you, you'd be a lot happier. And I hope he is a lot happier. But when I ended it, it was a not great time. Like, now we're fighting. Now we're back to the world post-COVID. And it was not nice. And I was realizing, like, we're the worst. Like, this is not it. And I yelled at him again, like at a real come to Jesus. And I was like, you're miserable. You hate your life. Your kids are sweet but difficult. Your ex-wife is a nightmare. I'm your girlfriend. I'm supposed to be the best part of your life, and I won't live with you. I said, you're unhappy, and I can't make you happy, and you're making me unhappy. So I don't think I can do this. And then I one day called him and said, I think we're breaking up now. He goes, but. I go, no, we're done. Bye. Like, I did not let him talk. And it's something I do regret, but I knew he was going to try to make a case for himself. And I was like, I am so done. And something in me says, done. And I cried. I was like, this is it. I cried more before the breakup than I ever did after.
Yeah,
And then it
morning
was,
before. Yeah.
I pre-grieved. For people who watch Succession, I pre-grieved. So then here's the part that you're getting to.
Mm-hmm.
I start dating again, like a month later. I bounced back quick. I'm like, whatever, what are we doing here? And I went on a date with a guy, and I was like, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like, he was just gross to me. And he was a perfectly nice guy. I'm like, these are nice guys.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I had crushes on women. I'd had some dalliances, nothing serious, but nothing serious, really. I just had crushes on lesbians. When I say lesbians, I mean, I thought I was so straight. I liked women who looked like men. I was like, that must mean I'm really straight, because that's who I
Okay, so
like.
you never thought, like, in the past that you were gay.
I thought I had crushes on people, and I didn't understand it. And I said
Okay.
to my family, I was always like coming out to them, like, I'm never having kids, and I have a crush on this folk singer. And they were like, it's a phase. I was like, I don't know, you guys. I have very strong feelings for this folk singer. And I would go to all of her shows, and like, I was kind of like into it. And I would have heartache over it. And I'm like, what's going on? But listen, this is a while ago. I was never going to be like, you know what? I think I'm gay. I'm going to live a gay lifestyle. You know why? Because I said to myself, no real lesbian, no self-respecting lesbian would want to date me. That
Why?
turns out not to be true.
But why?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Because I'm not real. I'm not a real.
Because you didn't come out until you were 50? When do
Right.
most women come out?
I mean, 20s is when back in the day, 20s, because they don't, now it's different. But
Yeah.
no. I was like, no, I always loved lesbians. I'd be like, she's so cool. I don't know why. I just want to hang out with her all the time. And I was obsessed with them. And I was like, but they wouldn't like me. Can they be like, well, you're straight? I was like, yeah, totally. I'm straight. I wasn't afraid of being gay. I felt I didn't qualify. I had, as I've had my whole life, imposter syndrome, but now I was in the bedroom.
That
And I
is
was like, no
so
one's gonna,
interesting.
I was like, no one would like me. I'm not gay enough. They would not invite me into their club. Well, it turns out the queer community is the most welcoming, the most
I can
wonderful.
imagine.
But some
Yeah.
women have been bitches about it. I got to tell you, when it comes out that I came out later. Well, first of all, after that horrible date with a guy, I went on a date with a woman and I had been swiping on women. I go, we're switching. I took my whole online dating profile and was like, we're moving the lever to like women only. And I started looking through and I go, yikes, this is bad too. Maybe it all sucks. But then I saw one person and I was like, and I said to her, if I were you, I'd run the other way because I just broke up with my boyfriend and like I'm
This
probably
is new
straight.
for
And
me.
I was like, and she was like, no, I would love to meet you. And so I dated her. And once I won't get graphic,
That
but once
way.
I got into bed with a woman in a dating way, in a real way, I would tell
We're
you
going
that
back.
when I tell you the world moved and I felt that I had just surfaced after having been underwater a long time.
Okay, let me tell you what's coming up for me. And I'm thinking of all of the women listening to this podcast, and for sure some are going to resonate with this exact story. But there's a bigger theme here of
Uh-huh.
this women that are in relationships that they probably shouldn't be in for whatever reason. Religious beliefs that at some point they're like, what am I doing? This might not be for
Right.
me.
Right.
There's so many things that I think that we don't allow ourselves because, well, this isn't who I am because this is how I've always been, number one.
Right.
Or how many
Uh-huh.
people am I going to let down and disappoint if I choose something else? Did you
True.
feel that way? But I feel like telling your story, you had significantly bigger boundaries than I ever had, or that of a lot of women that I know. Did you always have great boundaries? Because it seems like you were
No.
like
No, please. I'm
I know it
Libra
seemed like you
rising.
did.
a
I'm
Libra, right?
Libra rising, Libra sleeping, Libra everything. I am a firstborn, Catholic raised, compliant. I only want to please. I don't want anyone mad at me. I was trained, as we all were, conditioned to court men's attention because it has currency in the world.
Yeah.
You will get somewhere if a man sees you and has an eye on you. And I knew that, and I could tell that I could get a man's attention, and that wasn't the reason I got what I needed, but I could tell it had power. So I confused sexuality with that kind of power. And I
Mm.
know this because my whole life I would go after the one I thought was the cutest, go after the best one, and then land them and be so excited, and then be like, what do I do with this? What do I do with this guy now?
You
I
got the
don't really want
ick.
him.
Did you get the ick
But
right after?
I was always afraid that they would like me back.
Oh,
As soon as they like me back, I was like, "You're a piece of
I'm
shit.
out.
I'm out."
I
Like,
bet
with my
looking back
mom.
on your life, you're like, so much clarity, right? All these moments.
Yeah. Yes, I have a podcast I just launched with my sisters, and we read our journals from high school and junior high,
Oh,
from the '80s
I'm
and
tuning
'90s.
in right now. This is
Yes.
amazing.
It's called Generation Artex. Do you guys watch The Neverending Story? Do you remember that movie?
Yes,
I
I
remember
loved
it.
it.
Yeah. It
Do you
was
remember?
so good.
Do you
Yes.
remember the
Atreyu.
Do you remember the horse that drowns in the swamps of sadness?
Yes.
His name is Artex.
Oh my
That's what we named
gosh.
it after, because it is the
What's the
most.
name that
It's
what's the
called
name they shout
Generation
out?
the Generation Artex, Artax. It's Generation Artex with a Gen X, you see? And so
Oh,
it's really because that is the most Gen X, that was a real trauma for people watching movies when we were, in the '80s.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
anyway, that's the name of it. But the beginning of it was my sisters and I all kept journals. And so we've been reading like here's something from 1982. Here's something from 1993. And it is mortifying. And every page I'm like, this guy is giving me the ick. This guy makes me queasy. I don't know. This guy likes me, but he's gross. Like I was clearly like, what? But when I
That's
allowed myself to do it, but to your point, you were just saying, there's a lot of women who are in relationships who shouldn't be. It doesn't mean they're gay. Maybe it means they want to explore, and we're in a world of exploring. So I encourage everyone to try it. I tell you, and I will say this right now, and I will put my money where my mouth is. If we had 100 people listening, and I said, you're all going to date women for like 6 weeks, and you're going to find your ideal lesbian, you're going to date them for 6 weeks. I say you're lucky if half go back.
What?
serious?
Seriously?
I don't think you choose to be gay.
Yeah.
But I was probably gay. Like this was not my identity. I
Yeah.
always had, even my mother was like, you always had a boyfriend. I don't understand. I was like, it doesn't matter when you have a boyfriend. Anyone can get a boyfriend. I'm like, that's not what makes you gay. I was probably always gay, obviously, but I chose a straight life because that's what I was conditioned to do. And I could have kept choosing it. And I could have dumped that boyfriend, got another boyfriend, and just lived in a kind of slow, low simmer of boredom and resentment. And
Yeah.
instead, I will tell you right effing now, I'm having the best sex of my life. I recommend women to anyone who will listen. And I'm seeing a lot of it. You've seen it, the story about, is it embarrassing to have a boyfriend now? People are not posting their boyfriends on their Instagram because they're like, well, they always embarrass me, or what if we break up? I don't want him on there. It's sort of like, not that people don't love men, because that's how sexuality is not a choice, because some people do. But honestly, if you had 100 women, that is my fantasy, is I want to have like a reality dating show where I make everyone date women for 6 weeks. And because if you found a woman who's a masculine woman, which is what I love, you're beautiful women. I'm sorry, you're not my type, right? Uh, the woman who you had on to talk about the bunions, though, super hot. But my point is, so
She
cute,
is cute. Yeah.
so cute.
Yes.
But my point is,
The bunions.
you can find masculine women, and I see them on TikTok, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? I'll take you out to dinner. I'll also take you shopping. We'll get our nails done. We're going to read together, and we will do our hair." Like, there's so much you get. It's all the things you think are true. It's not easier. Hell no, it's not easier. But the idea that I can finally like hang out with a woman that I'm into, and we can also be friends. And I know when I'm dating, I'm not going to get raped and murdered. Probably, maybe, probably not.
This is amazing. So, okay, then you said that you had some women were not nice. Are you saying that
Yes.
that was people that you knew, or women in
Oh,
the
no, no,
gay
no, no,
community?
no. Sorry, clarification. Everyone in my life was so nice and wonderful and supportive that I joke that I actually wish it had been a bigger deal. Like, I called my friend Jen from high school and was like, Jen, I have something to tell you. I'm gay. And she goes, yeah, I saw that on Instagram. Anyway, what else is going on? I think it's great, but like, what else is going on? Like, it was not headline news. It was not. It was almost like
Like,
coming.
I'm pissed.
I make a joke that like when I came out to my friends, it was as if I showed up with bangs. They're like, huh, weren't expecting that, but as long as you like them,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
it. But the people who are a little bitchy are some lesbians who are gatekeeping. And that is my most watched TikTok, was about like, can we talk about lesbian gatekeeping? Because there's a
Oh.
whole class and caste system that people who have been lifelong lesbians
You don't fit the mold.
no, but not just that. I mean, I'm fairly femme, right? But oh, look who just showed up at the party. We suffered our whole lives, and we were made fun of, and we were, I get it. They've been through it. I did not. I was straight passing. I'm still straight passing. I'm trying to be gay. Like, I'm trying to let people know. But the problem is, women are competitive. They are jealous, like any humans. And some women sort of like, I went on a date with a woman. I was like, well, and she goes, when'd you come out? I don't volunteer this information, by the way. Find out. You'll never guess that I just came out. I've done the homework. But they'll say, like, when did you come out? I'd be like, oh, not that long ago. Well, when? 2024, And they're like, oh. And they give you that, like, oh, you're new. And I was like, listen. And one woman I went on a date with, she had just gotten divorced from a woman who she'd been with for 20 years. And I just came out. She's new to dating. I'm not new to dating. So she was sort of like, well, and she was kind of, I don't know what the kids are doing these days. Blah. And I was like, first of all, ew. And second of all, she goes, you're kind of new. And I go, I'm not new to dating. As far as I'm concerned, we're in the same boat, because she didn't know how to date. And I already knew how to date. I've been dating up a storm. So
Yeah.
that's not common though. Most women, most lesbians that I've met are like, oh my God, yes, please, thank you. This is wonderful. So I felt nothing but welcome. But just, also from women I broke up with who were like, well, whatever, you're new. Like,
Mm.
Well, what about if
Yeah.
you had struggled with it your whole life? Like, would they have a different narrative or take on you?
maybe. I could lie and be like, yeah, it was really hard, but come on.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I think that, first of all, I think there's a lot of mental illness everywhere, and also a lot of
Mhm.
mental illness in the queer community, because there's been such abuse and abandonment. And a lot of these women have been through it. And I've had experiences with people, I was like, wow, this is wild. But even though it's wild, still better than dating men, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Well, if we move on
Let's move
to
on.
your second TED Talk,
Yes.
it's about time we rethink happily ever after. I mean, this fits right in. And where do we go with this?
That TED Talk, I'm convinced, didn't do as well because the title wasn't good. They titled it something that had to do with their event, which no one remembers. And it is really about that. The seed of that talk, and by the way, how I got that second talk was someone saw the first talk and they said, "Hey, we're doing a TEDx event. Would you come do a talk here?" I was like, "Well, what am I gonna do? Play the hits? I already did that talk." They're like, "No, write a new one." I was like, "Oh my God, I've really given me homework." Okay. And so I thought about what opinion bugged me. And what bothers me always, since I've been single my whole life, is when people go, "Oh, yeah, I'm still single," or, "Oh, you're single again," or, "Oh, yeah, it never works out." The assumption that because, oh boy, there's a cat. Get down.
Oh, the cat's been there the whole time. We're like,
Oh,
we're vibing with the cat.
oh, really? Romeo?
Yeah, they've been there
Yes.
the whole time.
Listen, I have male cats. They try to steal, they're trying to take space.
Yeah.
That talk is basically the point is there's nothing wrong with you because you're single. That again is a kind of patriarchal vibe. It's you're damaged goods. No one wants you, and you should be afraid so that you're grateful when someone does. That's all set up to make you, oh God, I need someone. I need someone, or I'm not worth anything. And a guy said to me that talk starts with a guy saying, "Oh, you're single and you seem smart and you seem both together. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" He said. And I said, "There's literally nothing wrong with me.
How old were you?
What's wrong with you?" I was 40s, I was early 40s. And they're like, "Well, why aren't you married? Why aren't you?" I was like, "'Cause I don't wanna be." Even my boyfriend at the time said, "It's hard for me to believe I can't wrap my brain around why you're single." I said, "Do you think I'm a catch? Do you think I'm like a catch?" And he goes, "Yes." I said, "So why would you think I'd be so willing to go with anyone? Why wouldn't you assume I was really picky? Because I am."
It is a strange belief.
It is. That think about it for a second. Like, really, I wanted to change your thinking about this, especially people listening who feel bad or embarrassed or defensive about their singleness. You are born single. You are single until you choose to live with or spend time with someone. And our culture is structured around the belief that having a married couple is the basis for everything and must be. That's just this culture. It's not all cultures. But what happens if you're not in a relationship or you had one before? "Oh, what happened to that guy you had here at Thanksgiving last year? Oh, it didn't work out. Why?" "Well, he was a douche." "Couldn't you make it work?" "Well, no, I don't want to make it work." Like this idea that you should be long suffering and stay. And my takeaway from that, or my response to that, is the only difference between someone who's single and someone who's not defined as single is if you die while you're still in your relationship. If you do
Yeah.
not survive your relationship, I guess you were happily married. I don't know. All I know is you died while you were in it. That's the only differentiator. Because if I die single, "Oh, she died single. Well, she had a boyfriend. It didn't work out." What?
Yeah, why are you less then if you're single, right?
I would like to survive everything. I've
Yeah.
survived bad friendships. I've survived jobs. I've survived men, which is no small thing. And I have survived relationships. My hope is
Hello.
that you do survive. And by the way, this is not, I do not get a get out of jail free card with lesbians because they also are like, "Well, isn't this forever? Isn't this, we're going to be like the right in, like to forever?" And I was like, I mean, I don't know. But I don't treat people casually. I'm not like, "Well, no, you're casual. That's rude."
Yeah.
So I never say that. I go, "No, we're in this and we're gonna experience it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out." And one girlfriend said, "I just worry that like if we break up, you'll be just fine." And I said, "And I hope you'll be fine. I'm
Yeah.
50 years old. I lived my whole life without you. Why now would it be that I can't live without you? Something's wrong with me then." And
Can
by the
you
way,
go give
everyone's
this
fine.
talk in Utah? Because
I
when you're
know.
not 21 and married, you're an old maid that no one wants.
No. And I see so many women on TikTok who are like 80, 90. They're like, "Girls, don't get married, or if you do, be happy when it ends because your life starts." But that's something that you guys talk about a lot. Like midlife is
Yeah.
when some changes happen. And yes, some relationships peter out and it's a painful end. And I don't take that lightly either. But
Yeah.
this idea that I'm over and I'm done because no man wants me, really ask yourself that. Is that a reality? It's not. It's
No.
not. But until we see it that way, we're going to think, "Well, I don't know who would want me." Who would want you? Go on the apps. You could have a date every night if you wanted. Yeah, but you're going to have to lower some standards. But like, you could do it if you wanted. Like
Yeah.
the ability to catch and keep is like, listen, I'm in the catch and release program. If it's not working, it's going back.
Yeah, I like it. It's an interesting concept that it's opening up the conversation than the traditional. I love it. I love, and that's kind of what went into your TED Talk. That's what it was about?
Yes, that's what that was about. It was sort of like, can we just think about this as surviving and learning something? First of all, I don't regret any of the relationships I had. Every relationship, I learned something. I learned a shortcoming of mine. I learned to address it. I learned about what I like and what I don't like. And you learn each time. No shade on people who are with their high school partner. Fine, that you are a rarity. Fine, you're in a different category there.
Yeah.
But if you date and date and date, you're not a whore. You are learning who you are. Dating is to learn about yourself as much as anyone else. And because I'm
So
a
true.
new gay, I've been out for almost 2 years. I dated so much to make a head spin because I need to know, who am I in this world? What am I like? What do I like? And what is it like? And I go in with total respect, authenticity, clarity. I don't want there to be any confusion. And I am really clear about those boundaries. I think there is nothing more important for a woman as she gets older as to shore up those boundaries. And then everything else you can allow for, you can accommodate, but your default cannot be accommodation. The
That's
default
been my
can't
whole
be.
life.
Well, I know, but most women it has been. That's okay. You serve, not just me and you, but women have served. They've put all of their talent and energy into serving other people, which was their choice, a wonderful choice. You raised humans who are going to go off into the world. You had a wonderful relationship and then it ended for whatever reason. Like, now what? Now, because you were asking, we're like, let's talk about like rest and what it means to. I don't like rest because it sounds like rest in peace. Like, we're not there yet. You now
Yes.
have all of this energy. You have all of this energy that you've just now freed up because your kids are older. They do not need you every second. You're maybe, knows what's going on with your job, your partner, or maybe you don't have a partner. What are you going to do with all that energy? You're certainly not going to just sit home and use a callus remover tool, though I have one and it is such a pleasure to use. But I'm telling you, every night you can't be home doing your feet and taking care of yourself. That's fine. Self-care should have a box that is protected, and that's one part of it. But the rest of it is, where will you go with that energy and why would you stop using it? There's a reason why the world hates middle-aged women. It's because that's when they don't give a shit. They are
Yes.
now
Mhm.
ready to not care. And so what do? Vilify. Oh, you're over the hill. No one listens to you. Every midlife, and we'll say the crone age, when I say that in a positive way, is a wiser, older woman. They know shit and they know your shit. And they are not taking your shit. And they are terrifying. Men are very afraid of them. And that is why they hate them. That's why do you think? Well, I don't know. Our administration does not love cat ladies because these women are going to make their own decisions. And in a matter of 5 minutes, they're about to inherit and have a lot of the money in this country. What are we going to do with all of that energy and all of that money? You sure as shit are not going to just sit home and binge TV shows. You're going to meet people, you're going to date, you're going to have the best sex of your life. You're going to have better sex, even though, okay, you don't look like you do when you don't look like you did in 1992. Who cares? Guess who doesn't care? The person you're in bed with. I can vouch for this. They do not give a shit. They want you, they love you. And to feel desired in that way, I'm telling you, it's the best. Life is
Okay,
good
so
after 40, the best after 50.
what advice would you give to anyone listening who is feeling inspired by what you're saying, but has been afraid of disrupting the story that they've built? How do they tap into the power and find what's true for them and make that change?
Be around women who do. If your
Mm.
friends like to sit around and complain and say they can't do stuff and say this is hard now and my back aches and I can't because this and I can't because that, you need new friends. And you do, and you can meet new people. Do not hang around with people who make you kind of hate yourself a little bit or feel stuck. Who you spend time with I mean, that's why I've devoted my whole, like, I was a consultant for years, but now my whole life is building this community of people. We are taking our stories and our memories to the page. I'm a writer, and I don't teach people to write. I free people's stories up. And you know who's in those classrooms? You know who's on those Zoom calls? Middle-aged women. Because they're like, guess what, bitches? I
Love
got
it.
something to say. And I'm tired of being quiet. So here's what I say to people who are like, but I can't because this. You can keep doing what you're doing. No
Yeah.
one said you had to change your life. Not
Mhm.
one person, not me, not you guys. You can keep doing what you're doing. How mad are you going to be if, you're like, well, it's too late. All right, but you're not dead yet. How mad are you going to be if you just continue to serve and accommodate and put everyone else first? You'll do that till you die. Like they say, when you die, you'll have things on your to-do list you didn't get to. I am not interested in having things I didn't get to do because of that. So you have to ask yourself, who am I spending time with? Have I written down how I feel? I'm journaling more than I ever have in many, many years because I know when I write, I think. It makes me think in a new way. And I would say, write, keep a journal. You don't have to tell anyone about it. Challenge the ideas you have. Write down. Here's what I think my limit is. I can't do this because someone will be mad. Someone will be mad at me. Listen, I'm afraid when people are mad at me too. But at some point I go, I'm sorry, you're not going to live my life. I have to. So I'm
Mhm.
going to live with the boundaries I've set. And I have friends who set very clear boundaries with me. I have friends I do business with. And they'll be like, well, this is our deal. And this is like, respect it. If you don't keep boundaries, who's going to trust you? You don't have any boundaries. I get real nervous around people with boundaries. They're loosey goosey, make me nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true though.
you don't have to be angry and belligerent, but you can kind of speak up and decide what you want. And if you don't feel like having sex, but you don't want to break up with your partner, then you say, you know what? I'm not feeling it. Like, open up your relationship. Like the rules you were raised with, especially us, because we are Gen X, are we not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gen
The
X.
rules we were raised with, I hate to tell you, it is a lie. And it's not something you have to live by anymore. And you don't get points for clinging to things you did right before. No one's giving out trophies for who was the good girl. Not anymore.
I'm
And
obsessed.
That was the mic drop. There's always a
I
mic drop. That was it. Right
that
there.
advice, that whole
It's interesting reinventing yourself. I feel like, and this is totally off topic, so
that's all
I'm
right.
going to bring it back. But I have a few children, but a 19-year-old son that is kind of telling him some of these same things because he's kind of got in this warped world of just virtual reality and not
Oh, yeah.
meeting
That's
people and
hard.
not dating and not getting out, and the kids just don't talk to each other anymore, and the college experience, I'm like, you should be meeting people.
Well, we're in an
This is the
analog
time.
world still. Like, as far as I know, we're not living in a virtual world. We're living in the real world. And that's going to be really hard. That generation,
Yeah,
I don't know what's going to happen.
I
I
don't
feel
either.
like we know Gen X is the toughest. We grew up analog, means we can do literally anything. Like,
Yeah.
we grew up analog, we learned digital, we can speak your language, but we worked in ways you didn't. So we're sort of unstoppable in that way. But I do worry for young people because I don't understand. I don't know what they'll do. How will they do it? How will they be social?
It's hard. It's a different world. I just read something somewhere that was talking about, I mean, and it was, let's be honest, it was like a TikTok or a reel.
Yeah, sure.
But
That's where I get
but
a lot
it
of my news.
it was saying how we were actually the best parents of all of the generations, and it went through and said why, and the millennials were like under us, and then our parents were under them. But it was really interesting to put it out because I mean, I just finished watching Stranger Things, and I'm like, but the 80s were where it was at. Nobody paid attention to us. Nobody called us. We were back at nighttime, and our parents didn't give a crap where we were or what we were doing.
I mean, it was freedom. And like, but look at the kids. Probably your son watched Stranger Things, right?
Yeah.
They all do. Excuse me, Romeo. Um, these kids are watching that going, I mean, the music, I want to weep when they're playing
Me
Prince and they're playing,
too.
but this is almost how the generations will, like, how we'll make our peace with the newest generation because they know that that was so cool, you know? And so,
yeah.
yeah, watching that is very, and also I felt the same way about Yellow Jackets. that was also 90s, the music. And I was like, this is so awesome.
I got to watch
So,
that.
I know, me
oh
too.
God, you guys, absolutely. It is our people. It's actresses we grew up with who are now grown-ups. And it was fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I hate to be like, I worry about the children because they said the same thing about us. Actually, no, they didn't. They didn't worry about us. They had to
Nobody
say,
cared
it's
about
10 o'clock. Do you know where your child is? Because maybe you haven't thought about them all day.
They'll be home.
They'll show up. I
They'll
love
show
it.
up. Well, Terri, I have to say we have all these questions. We never get to any of them, but the heart of what I wanted this episode to be has arrived.
Oh, okay, good. Was there something I missed? I feel bad now. I took you off.
No,
Okay.
because this is what
No.
I really want. I think that this struggle of identity, and I mean, for you, your story, you know, Laura has a different story of having a baby, you know, a couple of years ago, a totally different story. I have a different story of in my 40s, like I didn't even start strength training until I was 41, and then
I
built
can't believe that.
this business and all of these things that I didn't think was possible in my path when I was in my 20s and 30s because I was a stay-at-home mom. That's my
Mhm.
identity, that's what I was, that's what I did. And so this reinvention is really you have 3 people on this call right now that have reinvented in a different way than what the norm would tell you, I would say.
I mean, there is no norm because you might have seemed norm because you're like, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but your life changed. My mom always says, and she this is something I'll never forget. She's like, you know, people are like, life is short, life is short. My mom goes, life is long. Make good decisions. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
you're gonna have to live with that. Now, you'll also live through it. Like, yes, you had little kids when you were a baby yourself, so young. And now those kids are grown up. Like you have a whole other life, right? What are you
Yeah.
gonna do? I mean, my sister just sent her first to college. Her second one is going to college. She was a little panicky, like, what am I gonna do? She's so young, right? She has so much energy. She is now producing our podcast. She learned how to use her like the Riverside app and edit. And she's like, I love this. She has a whole new career as essentially a producer. She's like, oh, I like to zoom in on this. She has a whole new skill set. And she says, thank God we did this now because I don't know what I would have done. So the answer is everyone should have a podcast. Just kidding. I think the answer is that everyone should make something, do something, write something. I mean, there's a reason why we're called to like, I just want to make something. Well, and then they'll say, talk to any woman our age, like, oh, but I mean, I was an accountant for years. It's not like I wasn't trained to do this. We were trained for different things for a different world. We were trained for a different world that doesn't
Yeah.
exist anymore.
It's a good
So
point.
guess what? You're going to have to invent who you are now. And that scariness that we feel, like people go, well, I don't know. I just want to go back to what I know. You know, it's not scary because it's dangerous. It's because freedom is so foreign to you. You don't recognize it. And so you're defaulting to fear. But it's not scary. It's exciting. But the fact that so many women are afraid of that, well, what do I do? It's like, this is what you've been waiting for. This is it. Freedom feels scary because you're so not used to it. It's time to
Yes.
get used to it.
Wow. Yeah.
And I like the reinventing of the skills because I have to say on my staff alone, I have one person that's kind of the I don't know, chief operating officer, whatever you would call them,
Yeah.
who has been in corporate America for 20 years. And then I've hired a bunch of other women my age that are wicked smart women, but they, you know, they raised kids. And so we're sitting here and half the time on these calls, this one person is like, well, you know, you guys get this. And we're like, we stayed at home for 20 years. We don't know this, but all of these women can learn. And I wouldn't have picked anyone different because the skill set, as you said, with your sister, who cares what you went to school with and you haven't worked in X amount of years, or you don't
You haven't
know
worked
that,
for years.
like, it can just, you can figure it out. We're all smart women that can
But this is
figure it
the
out.
self-esteem. And this is, I'm going to speak to our generation because the younger are not old enough to complain about this yet much, but I cannot stand, I have an allergic reaction to when any woman around me, around our age, says they can't do tech. I want to scream. I want to grab them by the ears and shake them because I say, everything's tech. You use a phone, you use a microwave is tech.
Yeah.
Books are tech. All tech is a tool with which to do something else. this idea that, well, I'm not good at that. We have counted ourselves out. Well, I didn't. Neither did my mom. She's online. She knows how to order stuff, ship, so she can do everything. This idea that I can't, oh, I can't. Oh, but women our age. No, don't start with that. Do not. And this idea that you can't learn tech is crazy because this tech today, especially, you don't have to be an engineer. It's made
Mhm.
so that a monkey could do it. So like you can do it, but that's not what it is. It's not like, well, I can't, this is too hard. I can't. No, you're so in your face with your critic. You're just like, I can't because I'm not a person who does this. They've over-identified with someone who can't do things, who doesn't know things. When in fact, if I said, I'll give you $1 million and won't murder your family if you learn to use Instagram, guess who's going to learn how to use Instagram? So like, don't tell me you can't do it. You can.
Yeah.
It's the block about the idea of what you can't do. And that's what's going to hold women our age back. That's when we pull away from the shore and the people who say, well, but I can't, they stay on the shore and they're done. It's like people who don't use AI. I'm like, goodbye. I hope you had fun because you're done now.
Yeah. I mean, no, it's
It's
great.
true.
It's great. It's the reinventing. And I see this like in the weight loss world of, people will come into my programs and I'm like, there's nothing special here. There's no magic pill or solution. Like
Haley, they
there's
want
some
your arms. They just want your arms. They want you to
Mhm.
tell them what to do to
The
get the arms.
arms.
The arms.
arms. Well, I mean, it's just like every day I see women reinvent themselves. But you're right. You have to change. I had to do it myself. I was just like, I can't who's going to listen to me on Instagram? I don't know how to do any of this. Or, you starting off with a TED Talk. Well, I don't know, but I'm going to figure it
Right.
out.
You'll figure it out. Of course you
Figure
figured
it
it
out.
out. I think we undermine our own abilities. Something that my niece says that people say now, they'll be like, how hard can it be? Boys do it,
I like
which I
it.
think is amazing. So whenever someone says, well, there's not enough money or we can't earn enough and there's not enough, I go, there's plenty of money. And some douchebag out there who's doing very little is taking home your share. So what are you going to do about it?
Okay. Do you have any speaking engagements coming up? Because I feel like I need to meet you in person.
I know.
I
I'm like,
would
where are
like
you going to be
know,
talking?
do you know anyone who needs a speaker? Because my bookings are down. I haven't really tried. I haven't really pitched, and I would love to do more speaking. So if you know
Well,
anyone, but no, I don't have anything currently scheduled. I just have the podcast that goes live every week. That's it. I
yeah.
also run live workshops, and I do lecture them because the room is all women our age, basically, with a few very advanced, evolved men.
Yeah.
And I run live workshops every week where people come and write, and I'm forever telling them, you are creative. I don't care that you majored in finance, Nancy. You're still creative. So I am forever coaxing people out of that shell. So when I speak, I'm speaking to my community, and that's easy enough to check out. But yeah, if you hear of like any major events, please tell me. I would love to throw my hat in the ring.
And you
I
still
love
live
it.
in New York?
Yes.
Yeah. Couldn't you
I'm
hear
on
the ambulance
Oh,
or the
sorry.
police?
I
I
don't
was
even
like,
hear it
where
anymore.
are you? Where
I'm
are
in
you in New York?
I'm on the Upper West Side. I'm near Lincoln Center.
Okay. We had an apartment in Murray Hill,
Nice.
like years. Well, my husband did. I would visit. We were kind of living in two
Oh, okay.
places while he was working out in the city before we moved out. But such a fantastic. There's nowhere like New York City.
There's not. You walk down the street in New York and you're on your own music video. It's whatever
Yes.
you're listening to, whatever you're wearing, whatever. Like, it's just, I love it. I know
Love
everyone's
it.
like, it's not what it used to be. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't care.
Who cares?
It's still
Yeah,
New York.
It's
You
still
know?
amazing.
absolutely. So Terri, in closing here, where can women find you? And can you just mention again about your
Yeah, yeah.
writing group?
Yes.
Because
Oh, it's a big group.
And
I
your
mean,
book.
oh, the book
Yeah.
is called Unfollow Your Passion. You can find it wherever books are sold. Hopefully. It came out in 2021, so I hope it's still there.
It's
You can
very
order it.
good.
Thank you. It came out during the pandemic, so it did not get the attention
attention.
that it
Yeah.
might have. But that's all right. You can find me anywhere. I'm everywhere. No one has my name, literally no one. So Terri Trespicio, you can find me on the gram. You can find me on TikTok, blah, blah, blah. But if you want to actually hang out and spend time, I'm always on and talking to this group and in my my little community. It's the group I run. It's called the New Rules Studio. We call it the studio. And it is essentially a live, real-time, virtual, critic-free writing room, not just for writers. So
I'm
it's not,
joining.
I know.
you want to write? Do you guys want to write?
Yes.
I've always wanted to share. Yes, I
You
do,
want to
and
write
I'm
now?
just
Like, do you like the idea of sitting and writing your story?
well. I would say I'm too busy right now, but it's definitely on the docket in like the next decade.
Decade. I like thinking in
Yeah.
decades. I think it's really
Yeah.
important. Well, let me tell you, I'll tell you and everyone else, you're better than you think, because I can't tell how many people are coming like, I'm really a bad writer. I'm not good. No, it's just that you trained according to grammar and you were afraid of doing it wrong. I say there's no such thing as writer's block. There's just the desire to write and the desire to be right. And if you're going to write and be creative, you have to be willing to be wrong and to mess it up. But we are a very specific approach to writing. It's called the gateless method. I did not invent it. There's no criticism. There's no judgment. No one's going to tell you how to do your thing. We're only going to listen to your work and tell you what we loved about it. And I, having being a seasoned and certified facilitator in this method, will point out the craft points of what this speaker did. Haley, well, you can see what she did here is she did this, and then she starts with this introduction, and you'll be like, I didn't know I did that. So I'm forever showing people their work and showing them how strong it is so that they can share it however they want to. But you can, come and try it. And what I'm doing is getting a special Body Pod link that you can put in the show notes so that we'll know how many of your friends come.
I
That
love
we
it.
get to know.
I love it. Well, Terri, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. This was such an enlightening and as I mentioned at the first, different podcast than any other guest that we've had. So thank you for being
That's a real
here.
honor. Thank you. Thank you.
So fun.
It
You
was
are
great.
so
So
fun.
fun to have you.
Oh, you guys are so sweet. I would like to meet you in person at some point.
Well,
I
I'm
hope.
a East Coaster now. So when I come to New York,
Mm,
I am meeting up with you.
please do. This is real fun. Thank you guys.
Yes.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider giving us a 5-star rating and sharing the Body Pod with your friends.